welcome to another Tilapia Classroom vlog. This is our 14th video, our final video for this season. It is hoped that the last 13 videos that you have watched, you have enjoyed them, and that we are now looking forward to the climax of all these videos as I actually include the business plan and summarize all that we have looked at prior to this. My name is Raleigh, and it is hoped that you have been enjoying the series. Okay, so we're talking about tilapia fish farming business. Are you interested in starting a tilapia fish farming business? Do you need a sample tilapia fish farming business plan template? Would you like to control a mega tilapia fish farm that produces thousands, if not hundreds, or just a few hundreds monthly? If your answer is yes to any of the above questions, then I need you to pay special attention to everything I share in this episode of Tilapia Classroom Vlog. Tilapia fish farming is becoming more popular in Jamaica. One of the reasons why it's becoming more popular in Jamaica is because it's being trusted to the populace to consume more what we eat. Tilapia is a good source of protein. It's an easy fish to raise. It breeds easily, and it's resistant to several diseases. Throughout my years associated with tilapia, I've never heard of any case of any disease in Jamaica associated with tilapia. It's very hardy. The temperature in the Caribbean, in Jamaica especially, is on par to the needs of a tilapia food fish, right? Tilapia feeds on vegetables. Yes, in the wild it even grabs at anything that moves. But for today, we're looking at business plan and kind of summarizing all that we have looked at in the other videos throughout the entire dispensation of this year. Whether you want to raise tilapia as a hobby or as a commercial, experience, on a commercial scale, there are certain major concepts or factors that you need to consider, right? What is your motive? Now, the first thing you should always put into consideration before starting any business at all is your motive for going into that business. Your motive will determine your overall business strategy. As for tilapia fish farming, the tilapia fish farming business, tilapia food fish farming business, you are expected to make a profit. Even if you just want to raise a few fish for your family, at least you want to grow the fish them to a particular size and you want to be successful at that, right? Or do you want to start a small scale gradual and gradually grow into a huge commercial enterprise? Some persons might not like it for that because you're going to compete against their market, but it's an open market, guys. Well, these questions are left for you to answer. I can't answer them for you. I can just put the information there and you decide for yourself. Now, do you have what it takes? And I'm not talking about money now. I'm talking about, do you have what it takes? Do you have the impetus to go through with this tilapia food fish business, farming business? Now, when you have determined the scale on which you want to operate, look around you. Do you have all the materials and resources needed to start a tilapia fish farming business? Now, if you can recall, the first video that I had in this year, it speaks to you about equipment. And we started off with simple equipment. Yes, starting a business, you start small and you gradually grow. Do you have a pond with good water supply to rear your fishes, right? If you don't already have a pond, you may need land or some space where you can construct an artificial pond. The size of your pond will depend on the scale of your tilapia fish farming experience, right? you want to go into. Bear in mind that land acquisition, as shared in one of my last videos, is primary key in being a successful tilapia food fish farmer. Alright, now this is the nice part. Set up a tilapia fish farming business plan and budget. As with all other business, right? You should always have a business plan. And you ask the question, what is a business plan? A business plan is practically the outlay of all the goals and the objective that you intend to achieve, or should I say acquire? Yeah, achieve, reach. In the business, you should always make a budget that would consist of all the items you would need to start up, feed and maintenance, and everything, fish, all that. Bear in mind that prior to the creation of your business plan and your budget, you now are going to have to, well, you should actually do a survey or a research to find out whether or not the business idea is one in which is going to be feasible, sustainable, and you're going to be able to generate enough income to keep it afloat. So you're going to do your research, and it's based off your research that you're going to do the business plan, and it's based on the research that you're going to actually create a budget. So for every aspect of the budget, right, every aspect of the business plan, I should say, you're going to have some monetary allocation. Now set up your business farm. Set up your tilapia food fish farm, right? To set up your tilapia farm, you would need to take the following into consideration. You should ensure that the water temperature uh, does not go below 28 degrees Celsius or 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, in Jamaica, in the Caribbean, well, in Jamaica, I know, we look at Celsius. Now, typical Jamaica temperature is between 28 degrees and 34 degrees, and 34 is really hot, degrees Celsius. I think one day last week, we experienced 40 degrees, and I mean, like, we were burning up, right? Now, as it relates to being below 28 degrees, I think such a venture would be best done indoors, where you can actually install heaters within the fish pond. But we talk about that, well, we spoke about that in previous shares, right? You consider the pH of the water, the sufficient oxygen level that may exist within the water space, and the absence or the presence of polluting agents such as sulfur within the space in which you intend to keep, rear, breed, and trade your tilapia fish. Now, as it relates to water supply, remember, you're talking about tilapia food fish farming, right? And from the fact that you're talking about uh, tilapia and it's fish, right, and talking about farming, the volume of water that you're going to be used uh, is going to be a lot. So you will need constant, sufficient supply of water to ensure that your stock of fish is kept healthy and is safe for human consumption. Right? You must always ensure that your fish farm is at a site where you can access clean, fresh water through the entire year, not just summer, not just autumn, but for the entire year. And that the probability of your farm being flooded is limited, or if possible, none at all. Right? You don't want to invest, or you don't want to encourage anybody to invest within your business, and issues like flooding become a problem later on. Now, pond construction. Now, I did a video on this within the series where we looked at the different types of fish ponds, right? The different types of fish ponds. Now, as we talk about the different types of fish, I spoke about extensively I spoke about the different types of fish pond that you can use. You can use a fish pond with liners, a fish pond lined with clay, fish pond built out of concrete, and you can use vats, totes, and barrels, right? And in Jamaica, some persons use old fridge and old buckets, different type of containers, right? Regardless of the type of containers that you use, just stay away from any container that is metal. All right, so you're talking about the pH and the depth of the pond. You don't want it to be too deep. And this is just an overlay. This is just like a summary of what we have done before, right? You want to control your water flow and both your inflow and your outflow and your overflow within your system. And I spoke to you about that in a previous video, right? So all this come into play as you talk about your business plan. You're gonna have to break down now how much is it gonna cost to actually construct your pond. How much is it gonna cost to actually lay out the necessary spaces, the inflow, the outflow, whether or not you're gonna be using the water to do some hydroponics or aquaponics or whatever you're gonna be using the water for. You have to think about that, and you have to lay down the costing for that construction, for that recirculation system within the fish farm that you intend to have. Now, in Jamaica, we have roughly three different types of tilapia that is bred as food fish. And I've heard, based on my research, I've heard that they have now categorized one type of tilapia as gift. I have not gone much into that because that is not really that popular in Jamaica. Probably it's in the wild, but it's not grown as a food fish. No, the three type of fish that is actually grown as food fish in Jamaica are the Rocky Mountain White, that's Rocky Mountain White, Red Nile Tilapia, and the Mozambique Tilapia. Right? I can tell you by taste, Red Nile tastes really good, but the Rocky Mountain White, it has a lot of meat and it is awesome. I've not yet tasted the Mozambique tilapia, but I guess based on the look, it's similar in texture as the Rocky Mountain White. Alright, so check the description below the video. You will see more information on the different types of tilapia that exist in Jamaica that is bred on fish farms. I've done extensive I call it now shares on that in my tilapia series. Alright, so feeding can be an issue, and because I know that it can be an issue, uh, it was singled out as in two different videos in which I did in this series. One, location of feeding for my feed for my tilapia stock. That's a video in which was done for the series, and also it is underpinned within the section where we talk about problems facing Jamaican tilapia fish farmers. Now, tilapia fish feed is split up in two different groups in Jamaica. Local companies in Jamaica do make tilapia fish feed, but the fish feed that is made in Jamaica is not extruded. So therefore, when you place it into the water to feed the fish, it sinks. And if the fish doesn't consume it at the same time, it dissolves in the water. What this does is that it actually pollutes the water quicker than the ones that extruded, meaning that it's buoyant in the water when you place it in the water. You're able to remove it from the water if the fish doesn't want it, right? But for the one that is made locally, this is not so. And again, you can check the video, this same video down below for videos that I've done. I've done several videos on tilapia fish feed, videos that I've done extensive research on, and I've actually brought to the fore the results as to the whole idea as to what's best to feed your tilapia fish. All right, so the breeding part of the tilapia fish farm now, that gets me excited. Now, as I shared before, um, your tilapia, well, in other shares, not necessarily in this series, your tilapia will breed once it reaches roughly about 2.5 inches, right? It's referred to as juvenile at this stage, or getting into the juvenile stage. Now, as it breeds, it will try to well, its tank mates will consume the fries, right? So if you do secure some amount of mixed stock tilapia, you summarize that they are breeding, you're gonna have to watch them very carefully so as to remove the babies. But it's not until about 5 months or probably six that they start to push out babies, no longer consuming babies. So what happens is that the entire space get overcrowded and oxygen is depleted, and you find that your fish are actually dying. So now you're gonna have to get a new space for your fish. So as you start breed, you have to find new space, and this just continue. You're either gonna consume the larger ones and separate the small one into by sizes, or you're gonna have to sell them, or you're gonna have to use them as feeder fish for other fish that you might have. It depends. And again, there's a video that I did on this where I look at the importance of tilapia nursery, and you're trying to avoid the whole idea of overpopulation and within your fish space. And this is one of the reasons why Rural Agriculture Authority in Jamaica, rather, have actually opted to sell persons interested in the tilapia fish farming business monosex tilapia, that is the feeding of baby tilapia hormones that actually encourages them to be males. So 99% of the fish that you actually purchase from rural agriculture, um, rather, should I say, right? I'm kind of biting my tongue there, sorry about that. Are males, right? If they were mixed stock like what I have, a lot of persons who are not patient and not diligent in managing their stock, they will find themselves having an overcrowded system, not knowing what to do with them, and you find that all the fish are gonna die. Even the large fish farmers in Jamaica do practice the monosex of their tilapia stock because they just cannot keep up with the rate in which they breed. I mean, a large tilapia can give you like 100 or more babies at one go each week. So every 28 days, you're spitting out 100 and odd babies, right? And if you have 100 females within a pond and they're spitting out 100, it's a lot. So after a while, the entire oxygen within the space is going to be so depleted that the fish is actually going to die. Now, the harvesting part. Now, as a small fish farmer, this should be fun because you would actually be um separating your fish stock according to their size, right? Now on large fish farms, they don't have the opportunity to do that. They do it by time and date, so they know that this set of fish is supposed to be harvested the 31st of August. At the 31st of August, they took out all the fish out of the pond, and whether or not the fish is small or large, it is processed for sale, right? Now with a small farmer, now you go by size, so therefore you can put back a small fish in the pond, say boy you want to go a little bit bigger, right? So you separate the fish according to the size, and you find that as a small tilapia fish farmer, you kind of have more intimate um information about your fish stock than the larger fish farmer. Now I don't have to go much into this section of the presentation, disease control and treatment, because Jamaica doesn't experience this issue. There are much care given into the importation of live fish stock from overseas. I did a video about how you import fish into Jamaica, or should I say, yeah, livestock into Jamaica, what they do, and it is a rigorous process, sampling and all that. Check the description below this video, and you'll see a link to a video that I've done on disease and importation of fish in Jamaica. Now, marketing your fish stock. Now, I know that this is important. So when I say important, I mean it's not like to negate everything else that I've done on tilapia. But this is of great value to you being a novice or intermediate tilapia fish farmer, right? So you now are motivated by profit, right? Your primary motive of this fish farming experience is to maximize your profit, right? So you are gonna have to now um, sell directly to customers or people who will buy from you in bulk or what you call it, wholesale and retail, right? And a video was done on this within this series as we talk about who will be your client and how do you know who will be your client, right? Two different video, kind of slightly similar but different, right? You can check out that video also and check that the description below, that will be there. All right, so this is like in a nutshell as to what we have looked at. Yeah, what we have looked at, right? Tilapia fish farming is a lucrative business. It's good, right? It requires a lot of planning, a lot of astute, precise, patient, and diligent work. It also requires several persons coming together and sharing their skills. And several persons have actually become multimillionaire by just this business, right? However, I must make it clear that this business is not without its own challenges, and because I have realized, based on my personal anecdotal experiences, several challenges, I've done the last video focused on 5 um, challenges that hampers the growth of tilapia fish farming in Jamaica. Alright, so I did a video on this in the series where we look at the feasibility, sustainability of tilapia fish farm, where we look at the whole idea of information, market research, competition, pricing, consumption, volume, practically who will be your market, where your market will be, right? Who will actually purchase from you. I think we looked at um, restaurants, supermarkets, the corner shop, schools, and the different places in whom you can actually, market your tilapia stock. Now, create a business plan. Now, we're gonna go intimately in this, but just give me a bit, right? To craft a business plan is like any other livestock business. You can't expect a return soon after starting the business. Now, remember I shared with you before that tilapia starts to breed as young as 2.5 inches, right? However, you're not going to have that single female tilapia within that pond by itself, because it's very difficult for you to identify the male and the female at that young age, unless every minute you go in and you look at the tilapia the mouth to see if there is any egg. And when you do that, what happens is that you normally lose a lot of babies, because once you take them out of the water, forcing them out open, they're gonna spit out whatever is in it, right? So that's like a no-go. All right, so where all this is coming from is that at this tender stage they start to reproduce, right? However, it's not until they reach about 5.5 to 6 months that they actually stop consuming the babies. So roughly you have about roughly 8 months or 9 months, well, call it 6.5 months, to actually see reproduction being done within the space in which you keep your fish, that can actually replace the fish stock that you have. But at all times you should have some amount of fish referred to as your seed stock or your brood stock. Well, seed stock and brood stock slightly different, but I did 3 videos on this seed stock, brood stock, explaining all of that, right? You can again check the description below, and if you don't see it in the description below, check my playlist on this same channel about tilapia. Check the playlist, go straight down the playlist, you will see seed stock. Right now, before initiating a study on the demand market, right, tilapia has both domestic and export value. But most of the tilapia farmers in Jamaica, if not all, only produce for the local market because the local market is very difficult to supply. The volume of customers that exist locally far supersedes the ability of the fish farmers, no matter how large they are, to actually consider overseas. It's a lot of persons. And sometimes I go to the fish store and I want some tilapia to purchase, and they tell me that they finish. They open from 9 to 5, and they tell me that they finish from minutes after 12 because they're just sold out. Right? Um, you have to make financial preparation for the start of your business. You can't go into your business just with the idea. You have to have some amount of financial preparation, some amount of sacrifice at times are needed so as to get the ball running, right? However, you have um, agencies, NGOs, government ministries in which you can actually speak to regarding the funding, regarding processing, regarding technical, training and skills that is needed to actually start this business. Now, starting tilapia farming. Tilapia farming has become a trend in the fish farming industry. The fish is easily adaptable and can grow quite big. I mean, you have tilapia, especially like I know this farmer, he will have a pond. Normally the pond would be like 20,000 tilapia, right? Fingerlings that is, right? So the pond starts off with 20,000, and at the end of harvesting you'll get some half pound, 1 pound fish. But when it comes coming on to Easter now, that 20,000 would cut down to about 8,000 or 10,000 fish released in that same space. And those fish are huge, like 12-inch, 13, 14 inches long. Those fish are huge. Eat one of those fish, you don't need any side dish. Awesome. Now, the fish is easily adaptable and can grow quite large, quite big. Moreover, tilapia cultivation is becoming one of the easiest way to farm fish because it can be applied in various farming size. Now, I share with you the possibility of you keeping your tilapia in totes, in barrels, and in vats, right? Depending on your flexibility, your situation, immediate situation, these containers can determine the size of your fish, which will eventually determine the possible income that you may generate within this business, right? From massive industrial producers with complex tools to little tilapia ponds with simple equipment. Now, my mesh might be different from a net that a large 2 acre, 3 acre pond farmer might have. You know what is my mesh? My mesh is like the fan, literal fan, the fan cover. So I will go in the pond and I will use that fan cover as my net to net out the fish. Whether it is large or small, that is my net. Right? That is my equipment I use to catch a fish because they are in a small space. I can't do that when I'm if I have a 1 acre or 2 acre pond, I would have to have nets. Right? That is why many people try tilapia fish farming at home because the cost of tilapia farming is quite affordable. It's very cheap, guys. It's very easy, and you find that it can be fun. And when you achieve the ultimate goal, which is getting the fish to a certain size, you find that you feel accomplished. Now, that is why many people try tilapia fish farming at home because the cost of tilapia farming is quite affordable, as mentioned before, And tilapia fish farming for beginners is not an impossible business due to its relative it's relative easy access, right, to the process. Tilapia fish farming creates uh, a great demand for both fish farmers and consumers. My greatest worry, as mentioned in my last video, is the lack of skills and training needed within this sector. However, you will need some tilapia farming guides, and this is one of the reasons why I started this classroom series blog, which is aimed at assisting the novice and the intermediate tilapia fish farmers, keepers, breeders on their way forward, right? Which allows you to give the best care to your tilapia fingerlings and with the best harvested crops. It can put some money in your pocket. Additionally, tilapia fish can survive practically any condition. It's a rough fish. It's a hard fish. Hardy guys, hardy. Now, in Jamaica, the skills and the training needed for the keeping and the breeding and trading of tilapia that can be garnered from the RADA offices. Now, RADA doesn't offer financial assistance, but what they do, they offer extension officers their technical know-how, demonstrate how you do things so as to reap the best possible outcome. That is where they are right now. So if you're really into this whole tilapia fish farming business and you reach a spot where you don't know what to do, you have watched videos and you are in the locality of Jamaica. Now, regardless of the parish that you're in, reach out to the RADA office within your current location, and you'll find that they will assist you, even guiding you as to how you can build your capacity, whether it be how you structure your farm, and point you to the direction in which you need to seek or gain finance. They can suggest to you where to go, but they themselves do not offer that services. They offer the sale of tilapia fingerling at a minimal cost. So their tilapia fingerlings are far much less than what I sell, be, primarily because they sell what you call monosex tilapia. They can't breed. So if you sell, like for example, you have 100 tilapia in stock and you sell off, and you have 10, and you say you want to breed the 10 so that you can get your own seed and brood stock. That's not going to happen with the rather acquisition that you have made, meaning the rather fingerlings that you have purchased, right? It's not going to happen, right? Because all of them are males, right? Method of raising tilapia. Now, I shared with you in my tilapia series. That's not in this series, my tilapia series, where I share that you need several different size containers or several different spaces so as to keep your tilapia. And the primary space that you need to start off with is what you call a tilapia nursery. Right? Nursery is where you have the babies, then you have another space for the fingerlings, then you have the juveniles, then you have the adults, and then you have the other area in which you prep for harvesting. Now you can make huge profit on your tilapia, your tilapia stock, if you actually follow the guidelines. Right? In order for you to go healthy tilapia fingerlings and having them thriving and business going, um, you have to be mindful that the size space that you have them in can limit the growth. Filtration has to be good, and the water quality have to be good, right? Although they are adaptable to different conditions, but that doesn't negate the fact that they can still die if they are not kept properly, right? Now, in addition to them dying, they might just not be reproducing. You have a mixed up, but they will not reproduce if they are not within the best possible living condition. Now, as I shared with you before, a large tilapia, by the way, female tilapia is smaller than male tilapia. And that's one of the reasons why male tilapia is normally preferred in the farming arena, because you get more money for the pound, right? So the males are more muscular, thicker, larger than the females. The females are smaller in body, and they breed profusely. Once they start breed, there's no stopping them, right? And as a result of that, you might end up having issues if you do not know how to, manage that situation. All right. So as we talk about male tilapia, right? Male tilapia, the practically you get more money for them, right? So the fish that rather sells the monosex tilapia, the male that they sell, is not all that bad. And monosex fish doesn't um affect humans, and to suggest that it contributes to men's sterility is just a farce. That's not true. And don't believe me, you can actually do your research yourself. Some persons are just advocating for persons to stop consuming tilapia, but if grown in, and should I say, if kept in condition that is considered good, optimal, you'll find that you'll have healthy fish, and you'll find that you'll have good amount of protein source to sell. Now, therefore, it is advisable to cultivate only male tilapia for generating more production value, and that's what's out there on the market. Now, I do mixed stock cultivation because my business is considered diverse. I sell fingerlings and I consume the large ones. Now, some farmers might do a little of each, meaning that they sell the large ones and they sell the babies, right? That can also be a business. And I can tell you that selling the mixed up fingerlings, that I think that can give me more money than actually selling the large one, because there are more monies for mixed stock than for monosex, because of the primary reason that they can reproduce. Whomever you sell 1 dozen mixed stock fingerlings to, they're not going to come back to you on a regular basis. Rarely they return for more, because their mixed stock in which you have actually sold them will be reproducing. So as a result, now they are now independent of you. As a result of that, that's the reason why the costings for those tilapia might be a little bit more than the monosex. Now, I shared with you already about pH and balance, and the whole idea of water supply, and the different types of pond. Um, and again, I make reference to a video in which I did earlier on within my tilapia series, where I looked at the different types of pond, and how you can keep your tilapia, and breeding and all that. You can check that out, right? All right, so here, just two pictures. The picture with the containers that resembles a vat, what we call a vat. If you notice, in those pictures, you'll see the containers covered with fine mesh. That's because tilapias are normally jumpers when they are in shallow waters, and so therefore, because waters are shallow, what the fish farmer over on the other side with the clay pond have done, has actually built their pond in such a way that it is not really going up vertically, straight up vertically, but it has a slant, right? So if the fish do jump out, they will actually fall back into the pond, right? So containers used in Jamaica, as far as tilapia fish farming equipment, you have vats, you have totes, you have barrels, you have buckets, you have large containers, you even have fridge. And some persons dig holes in the ground and use liners, and some persons use clay to underline the holes that they dig in the ground, because clay doesn't allow the water to seep through that quickly. So within that couple of months that you're going to have the whole day with the water, the tilapia can survive and everything goes well. Alright, so we shared a while back, about the different types of tilapia, right? Red Nile and Rocky Mountain White and Mozambique. Those are the two types of tilapia that is, in Jamaica that it is readily farmed. One of the reasons why persons normally prefer the red tilapia, and I shared this already in one of the shares, classroom shares, is that red tilapia resemble red snapper, that is a marine fish, and persons love red snapper, right? And the color kind of jog their eyes, and they like it. They prefer the red fish rather than the dark color fish, which is the Rocky Mountain White, which has a little white in it and a little gray in it, and the what you call it, the Mozambique tilapia, right? And your tilapia fingerlings, as I shared with you before, where you source your fingerlings is of primary importance. Whether or not you're gonna have mixed stock or monosex, that's dependent on you as to how you can manage it, and the your preparedness. Whether you have a nursery to take care of those babies when the mixed stock actually breed, or whether or not you're just going to jump straight into you're just going to place them straight into the vats for them to grow out, and you're going to sell them, you're going to make a money, divide the money, buy more stock. That's fingerlings. Start again. So it's like an ongoing processing thing, so you're always interdependent on others to start up another 6 or 7 months of sorry tilapia farming. All right, so uh pond management. Now all this information, as I shared with you at the beginning, is like climaxing everything that we have actually looked at within the entire series. Right now, tilapia fish farming requires a nursery, right? And within the nursery, the babies that are released by the mother would normally spend 28 days, right? And on a tilapia fish farm, you normally follow days and time to the T. It's as a result, regardless of the size of the fish, you follow the days and the time. The fish is 28 days, the fish enter into the large container. The fish is 7 months, the fish enters into the space where it's now getting ready for harvesting in the next 28 days. Right? The art of tilapia farming is to understand each of these needs and then find a way to provide them in sufficient quantities. And the needs I'm speaking about is the spacing, the water quality, right? The ability to provide food and light and room for them to swim, oxygen, clean water, and also guys, to actually earn money. Alright? So tilapia fish breeding, as I talk about tilapia fish breeding, that's not difficult, right? Normally once you have a mixed stock, you'll get babies. And as I shared with you before, the tilapia normally start to breed at 2 to 2.5 inches. Sometimes you might not see the babies, but they are breeding. What they do, they spit out the babies, and after a couple of minutes, they will go around and chase the babies and consume them. Right, but as they get larger, like probably about 5.5, 6 months, they're about, they no longer do that. They're like strict vegetarians at that time. They will snap at things if they're in the wild, anything that move, but they're not gonna be snapping at the babies. Right? Okay. Alright. So water management and care, we spoke about that a while back there. We talk about the whole idea of availability of water, availability of being in a space where you can have regular water change. Water should not have any chlorine. Make your water space void of limestone, which impacts the pH, which impacts the water quality, which impacts the fish, right? Growth and all that. Alright, harvesting the fish. Now, large fish farmers don't really watch the weight and the size once they have actually reached the 7.5 to 8 months, depending on what the management actually stipulates that they should harvest. That's what they do. But for small fish farmers, they look at the size and say, oh, they are ready now or they are not ready now. They might give them a little bit more time, right? You need to keep stock of your fish, the size, where you see, by the way, the more fish within a space is the less they grow. The more space they have is the more they grow. So you're now going to have to determine as to what type of fish you want. Some persons like it when their fish is cut in sliced, and that means they're very huge. Some persons like it when their fish is like dinner size. I mean, like you have one fish for the plate. So it depends on the customers. Who is going to be your client? Yeah, that will determine the size of your fish, the size of the space in which you actually keep your fish. All right. All right. The equipment we spoke about equipment. Containers, nets, uh, covering for the totes, fish food, uh, plants, and pumps, whether it be air pump, submersible pump, or that thing that actually goes across the water at night for the large farms. I'm not 100% remembering everything now. Now the cost and the profit. Now, as we talk about business planning, guys, business plan is practically laying out everything that the business will need and will be doing so as to enhance the profitability of the business. So you're gonna have to give a brief rundown as to the rationale as to why you want the business to be in full swing. You're gonna have to outlay the goals of the possible goals of the business and the objective of the business. You're gonna have to outlay how you're gonna achieve moving from point A to point B. What the things that are outlaid as equipment and are outlaid as you need it. How is it gonna contribute to the profitability of the business? Now, some costs are fixed while some costs are depending on several other factors. For example, let's look at equipment. Let's look at pumps, right? You can have a fixed cost of the pumps if you intend to utilize certain quality pumps. I know a large fish farmer right now, he only uses the pumps at night. So during the day, he it's just the inflow and the outflow. The water flow to a certain level and then the water escape through that part, right? That's the inflow and the outflow. At night, the paddle wheel is connected and it actually helps to aerate the water and the fish are doing well, right? So it depends on the tools, right? That the quality tools that you intend to purchase and use on the farm that will determine the end cost, or should I say the profit, right? Even securing fingerlings can be costly, right? And although you don't intend to have sick fish, and the possibility of sick fish in Jamaica, tilapia that is like minimal, right? But you still at times, depend on the space in which you keep your tilapia, you might need to give them a little minerals or a little vitamins at times so as to up their immune system to withstand possible infection. So where you get the fingerlings, you're gonna think about how you're gonna transport the feed, whether it be from a factory or from a wholesale store or from a trader. You're gonna think about a labor. You're gonna think about other investments. For example, some persons might have a large area that they do fish farming on, but they actually use the water from the ponds whenever there's harvesting to actually store it in a space in which they use on their crops next door. And so the costing can be determined on several factors. All right. Now, pay attention to water quality. I won't go much here because I've actually dealt a lot in this, where I just spoke to you a while ago regarding water pH, water quality, water source. All of this is important in actually farming, right? I always advise the person in whom I do trade fingerlings with, tell them that at least 48 hours. If you're going to use domestic water, 48 hours. If you're going to use water from the river, ensure that the same temperature that the river water that is caught in your yard is at, that's the same temperature. Well, the same temperature that is in the bag with the fish is the same temperature um in a yard. So therefore you're going to actually float the fish. You're not going to just pull out the bag and throw the water with the fish in the space, right? You're gonna float the bag with the fish, and at the right time you're gonna use a net. You're gonna pull the bag, and you're gonna take out the fish only, and place into the container. So I won't go much here regarding water quality because I've dealt a lot on this. Okay, so feed and supplements. Now I shared a good amount of information on feed. I shared that in Jamaica we have local manufacturers of tilapia feed. However, the quality is not all that good. However, we are appreciative as fish farmers for the effort being made by local producers of tilapia fish food, right? It is just that a little bit more work is needed in actually getting the food to the level in which makes us, I should I say, make Jamaican fish farmers competitive with those individuals throughout the Caribbean and the rest of the world in the same business. In other words, the feed in Jamaica and compared to the feed in Costa Rica or Puerto Rico, it's like it's way below, right? Now, the main points of how to raise tilapia. Now, tilapia goes to four real stages. One, it's I call fry stage, fingerling stage, juvenile stage, and adult stage. Right? Now, throughout these stages, you have they refer to them as hatching, rearing, and harvesting. Hatching is usually the fry stage. Rearing, you rear between the fingerlings and the juvenile, and the juvenile eventually become adults. And when it becomes adults, after a few weeks, they are ready to be harvested. Right? Hatching for tilapia culture. Now, I showed it to you before that as a fish farmer, you're gonna need a delicate space, a well-controlled space, where you keep your tilapia fingerlings and you keep your tilapia fries. Now, the fries are more important than the fingerlings, to tell you the truth, right? Because the fries are the babies, and it's at this baby stage between first 4 days and 3 days, day 1, day 2, day 3, that male and female is actually determined. Now, it depends on the temperature that you actually keep your fish. You'll have more males than more female. That's if you're doing mixed stock cultivation, right? So your temperature that exists, you can do a little research to find out the temperature in which you need to have mostly males, temperature you have to need to have mostly females, and that can actually offer you a lot of answers as to the reason why you have a lot of males and a lot of females. Now, I do ornamental fish keeping, and I realize that I am presently getting mostly female mangano emboma cichlid um within my stock whenever they do breed, right? I think it's the temperature. Now, let's move on. Now, tilapia rearing can be technical, but can be fun, can be easy. You just need to be, patient, and the goal is to get them to consume so that they get bigger. You feed the tilapia at least 4 times for the day. Well, you might not have the time for the 4 times, so you can feed them 3. If you are going to be selling your tilapia as food fish, protein source, feed them 4 times. One in the early morning, one in the right before noon, one in the evening, mid-evening, and one in the late evening. And you should be good, right? And you keep abreast as to their health by checking on them. You're having a little fish farm, it's not a large thing. So if you see that the tilapia is actually at the top of the water and they're gasping, that suggests that suggests that the water needs to be changed. And that happens regularly when you use locally produced tilapia fish food. Alright, I have actually gone through several aspects of this, right? Harvesting um is easy for small tilapia fish farmers. And why it's easy is because you don't have to go into waist height water with large nets trying to hustle all of the fish into a corner so as to get them to be placed into a large container with water and a truck. You don't have to do that, right? When you have your small tilapia fish farm, you're patient to have your large net, or in my case, it's the fan cover, right? And a bucket, and you catch a fish and you place it there. Now, I never mentioned this earlier on, but having started this business, you realize that if you're gonna be having a fish farming business, you're gonna have to get refrigerator, a special fridge, a fridge that every minute the kids won't really run go in and tell you say they want ice water, they want this and they want that, right? So you're gonna have to get a deep freeze. So some persons like the live caught fish or just caught fish. So in continuation of I'm wrapping up. I know I have gone really lengthy. I have done really a lengthy presentation. Just bear with me. 20 minutes time, I should be up. Alright. Now as far as the business formation is concerned, now for a small tilapia fish farm, there are some rules and regulations that are needed if you want to go the route that is governed by law, right? Inquiries should be made with the Ministry of Education. I don't know why I keep on saying Ministry of Education because I work at Ministry of Education, right? Inquiries should be made with the Ministry of Agriculture and the Ministry of Commerce and Investment regarding what is it that is required so as to start such business. In addition, in addition, communication should be had with NEPA, which is the National Environmental Protective Agency, as anything has to do with livestock farming, you know, with the environment, some amount of assessment is needed. Some go ahead as to, hey, you can do your farming here, it won't destroy or deface or pollute the environment and cause irreparable damage to all around, right? So you need to get the requirements from these individual agencies, ministries, and you can actually formulate officially your business plan and have your your approval being given to you, because you're going to need all of these as a means of securing financial assistance in the future. All right. Now, business plan, I've been talking about it throughout the entire presentation. Business plan is practically your aims and your objectives, your goals, your budget, your financial. It also outlays, you know, that you have some knowledge of what you're going to be doing, and the different departments, the laborers, who is in charge of what, and how much it's going to charge, how much the equipment is going to cost, and the different sections of the business which needs to be attended to as far as business management is concerned, right? As I said before, talks about the money, talks about the startup cost, talk about what you're going to be needing, talk about the land, the fish stock, equipment, skills, technical know-how, all of that. It speaks about that, right? Um, speak about this not too long ago. I'm kind of going a little fast because I know that time is kind of pressing ahead, right? All right. So talk about the setting up already, and I did this in depth as far as I think it's on share number 1, 2, and 3 is concerned. What you need, how you're going to be doing it, how you're going to achieve the ultimate objective and goal, which is to gain profitability within this farming exercise. Right? Remember, quality tilapia fingerlings give you quality fish, give you good amount of profit so that you can make other investment, whether to expand or to go in a different direction as far as business is concerned, right? We spoke about this a few slides before, right? And let's talk about the way to get started is not to quit, but to practically keep on doing, right? All right. So in your business plan, you're gonna name your business, right? You name what you're going to be doing, your location, talk a little background about your environment, where you're from, your years of experience, what is it that you're going to be offering, why is it that you're offering it, and what you hope to achieve in your business plan. Right, you're going to talk about your products. In this case, you're talking about your fish, right? You're talking about the strain of fish that you have. Talk about the equipment. You talk about the feed, they talk about everything that has intricate I call it now value to the success of your business, right? You're gonna have a vision statement, and the vision statement outlays your optimal goal for your business. What is that your business is always looking forward to, right? Is it training? Is it skill enhancement? Is it profitability? Is it uh, a family oriented exercise? Is it so as to enhance the provision of, well, enhance the quality of, of protein source through fish cultivation locally, right? And you have the vision statement is different from the mission statement, right? You speak about that in your business plan. You talk about your financing, and in your financing, you're going to talk about your projected goals, how you're going to achieve, what you're going to start off with, how you're going to achieve, what's a projected um, profit that you intend to achieve within a specific period of time, whether it be 24 months, 12 months, 1 year, half a month, whatever. Right? Talk about the interest rate of loans. You talk about everything as far as financing and the business is concerned, right? Even you throw in a little bit of profitability there. Now, this is something that you need to pay special attention to when you're talking about a business, and this goes for every business, not only fish keeping business, but business. You're going to look at the strength, the weakness, opportunity, right? SWOT, right? No serious business will launch without having an overview of what its chances are to survive, right? Now, SWOT analysis is I call it now abbreviated is abbreviated version of strength, weakness, and threats, right? Strength, weakness, opportunities, and and threats, right? You look into all of those to see how viable your business will be. Now, every business has its strengths, every business has its weaknesses. The composition of it's what's the core of the workforce can actually um, mirrors the quality of service that the workplace would actually offer, right? Okay, weaknesses. Every business have a weakness. As small as it might be, it is still a weakness. Um, so we think about the limitation of the business, and how we can actually manage that. Because remember, in business, you're gonna have a problem, and you're gonna solve the problem, and you're gonna find that other problems going to come up. So you need to set in motion means of managing issues as they come along, right? But this weakness is in reference to the business itself, as to if you should start business? What's the weakness? Is it that you're going to be offering um, only live fish or frozen fish, or is it that you're going to offer scaled fish, gutted fish, fillet fish? So you look at the capability of the business to offer different services. Is you look at threats, right? You're going to have to look at the possibility of competition. You might have another small farmer having the same idea as you, and he's offering a better strain of fish, quality of fish, or different size of fish in comparison to yours. So it now this other small fish farmer might threaten your livelihood in becoming profitable. Right? So you have to look at all that. What is it that you offer? Now, as I said before, you have to have a financial projection, right? How much you intend to earn the first year, the second year, the third year, minus all the expenses, including loans, labor, um, maintenance, utilities, all that. How much is that you're actually intending to earn, right? And we talk about this in one of the classroom, Tilapia classroom blog. We talk about marketing, who's the client, and that explains itself. Now, as a business individual, you must learn to be competitive and create for yourself a competitive edge, which allows you to be the number one choice of the consumer in spending their money with you, right? So practically provide the opportunity to be that competitive edge over your competitors out there. Now, why do I need a business plan? Now, the tilapia farming business plan sample provides you with something to work with, right? You may also need to seek legal help when writing a business plan because there are possible legal implications for some business. What they do, they divide the staff so that one staff won't know everything that within the production line, so that the staff will actually leave the business after a year, start his or her own business, and because he or she is more knowledgeable of the business, every intricate detail of the business, your business suffers. So therefore, you need some legal assistance in writing the contracts or terms of employment for each worker, and the roles and responsibility, and provide all that, right? And your business plan actually um, lay out a lot of things as far as the business is concerned, as the optimal goal and the optimal objective. All right. So I did a business plan, a second business plan. I don't think I need to go into it because um, I did one. This is number two, right? So I'm not going to go into it. I'm just going to slide through it slowly so that you can actually read what is on it, right? It speaks about a business, a small farmer by the name of Mr. Johnson, and it outlay what is it that he intends to provide throughout his business, and it speaks to his products and services and what the quality that he plans to offer, his mission statement as well as his vision statement. Two different things, right? It goes in detail as to specialization in different areas and workers, qualified workers, training and skills, right? It speaks about the different, as I shared with you before, the different category of workers. Each worker, what they do, how much you plan to pay each worker, right? Going down the line, all right. So these are some of the roles and responsibilities as alluded to prior to this. All right. So this is just some of the roles and responsibilities of the different um, members of staff, right? So a business plan will have that, right? Business plan will have what is it that the cashier is supposed to do, the general manager is supposed to do, the sales manager is supposed to do, the marketing manager is supposed to do, the field worker, which is the laborer, the contract worker, contract staff supposed to do? What is it that they're supposed to do? Their roles and responsibility, and possibly the terms of the contract, right? So business plan outlay all of that, right? And then you're gonna have your market analysis, which is practically the research that you did before you start the business, well, before you actually wrote the business plan, which says, hey, I did a research prior to this business plan, and this is what I found, and I discovered that if I do that or do this, this is a possible outcome of the business, right? So you have your market analysis, you have your data, you analyze the data, and then you present the data within the business plan itself, right? Setting specific targets within the market in which you plan to actually explore for what you're doing, right? And these are just an outline as to who will be your client: domestic household, individuals, hotels, restaurants, fast food eateries, agricultural merchants, and probably you could put like in Jamaica you'd have corner shop. It's different from you say food shop, same thing as restaurant. And you can also say schools, right? All right. So providing that competitive advantage is one of the primary objective of a business plan. All right. Okay. Speak to all of this within the business plan. Sources of income, you can have income via selling of fries, selling of fingerlings, selling of fish as meat or as protein, or selling the fish as seed stock or brood stock to other fish farmers who is seemingly willing to be a part of this. Alright, you also have what you call forecasting. What is that you project that you will earn? I should mention it a while back. Based on your investment, how do you intend to repay the loans that you are actually seeking? Your projected income, your projected expenses, revenue in totality, expenses, and profit. Right? Yeah, you state all that in a business plan. Right, and this is, as I said before, this is an example, right? So as far as marketing is concerned, you look at publicity, advertising. You also look at registration, business registration. If you're going to start a business, depending on how you start and where you start and the purpose of you starting, you're going to have to now go to the local authority to register your business. And registering your business is not only for paying taxes, but you can also benefit to specialized insurance. So should in case a storm comes or any natural disaster comes, you can actually get some benefit because you're registered business, and two, you're registered agriculture specialist. Alright? So don't feel afraid when they tell you that you must register your business. It's for your advantage also. You may never know you will need this. Alright? Okay. Pricing strategy, all that comes with what you call it, you're gonna have to canvas and look at what your competitors are actually selling the goods for, in this case a fish, and then now you make relevant adjustments to your costings so that you won't be too far up or too far down as far as sales are concerned. Alright, talk about payment methods. How is it that you're going to be receiving cash? Some persons these days are going cashless, while some persons are saying only cash, and some persons have mixed modality, having cash and both online payment options. Alright, so you startup budget. All this is outlaid within the business plan. Right? I shared this with you in one of the videos which I did before. Talk about capitalization. How do you actually get that amount of money source to start up? Alright, so this has brought us to the end of the video, to end of the share. I know that it's a lengthy share, but I know that you more than likely would have garnered something of value